I'm Richard Porter.
I'm Jonny Smith.
And this is On the Other Side of Things, the Smith & Sniff spin-off in which we answer your questions.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, here we are again, answering your questions on Friday. Can I kick off with one from a listener called David?
Go on, I dare you. What sort of question does David ask?
Well, he's bucked the trend for starting with an insult.
Okay.
He's just kicked off with Dear Mr. Porter and Mr. Smith.
Oh, okay.
I felt a polite address to you both would befit my question about friendly waving in this summer season of open-top motoring.
Oh, yes.
My question is inspired by hearing of Richard's delight a few episodes ago at seeing another beat driver and knowing of your shared love of the smart roadster and other convertibles, some of which I've also enjoyed over many years. Please would you share your thoughts on some of the following reflections? Would you always share a friendly wave to drivers in the same model of car? Would you only do so when the roof is in its reclined position? How do you feel when that greeting is not returned?
Well,
have you ever possibly noticed a hierarchy in who will wave to whom? For example, smart roadster drivers would often wave enthusiastically to each other, as would MX-5 owners, and that Boxster drivers will greet each other, while a mistakenly proffered wave to a 911 will often sadly not receive any response at all.
Do you know what? Do you know what's weird is I have had this done to me, but I've also I've had the other way round. I had a 911 driver flash at me and give me a really defined enthusiastic wave, and it flummoxed me to the point where I didn't really wave back, and I felt awful because he was in a 3-year-old 911. But I'm convinced to this day, this was only 2 months ago, I'm convinced that they'd bought a brand new 911 and maybe they don't know about older 911 so much, they've just bought it because it's a lovely new car. Yeah. And they've looked at my thing coming the other way and gone, gosh, that's an ancient 911. Look at that. Yeah. And just giving me a wave.
You know those people who think that Range Rovers are called Vogues?
Mm.
They'll go, oh, what's your dream car? Oh, I'd love a Vogue. You know, one of those Vogues.
Yes.
That's
a singer.
That about going, I'd love a Ford Sierra. But instead you go, I'd love a 1.6L. I love a 1.6L. You know, it's a trim level. You're talking about a trim level, my friend.
I think anyone that says that should get a Singer Vogue turn up on their drive that's really frilly in the sill department. And they go, what's this? Go, it's a Vogue.
Or be forced, at random, I will just appear in their life and go, and they have to do Vogue by Madonna with all the dance moves.
I absolutely love Vogue.
Since you like Vogue so much. But yeah, someone who just thinks that all Porsches are 911s.
Yes.
That's a strange 911. Yeah, because it's a 924. Anyway, enough car snobbery. Well, but to answer David's question, sharing a friendly wave, because since I've got my Defender back, I think I've embraced the wave a bit more because I'm sort of happy to be back in it. I was always a bit sceptical about the Defender wave, but now I embrace it. And
also, you're a dad.
Yeah, well, my kids like it, and my kids like spotting other Defenders. There's one!
Yeah.
In terms of David's question about how do you feel when the greeting's not returned, I now feel a little deflated.
Yeah.
If a Defender... Sorry, I know this is not a soft-top issue, but I'm a little bit deflated when someone doesn't return the wave. Equally, if I slightly miss it from somebody else...
Yeah.
It feels incredibly rude, like you want to turn around and chase them and go, I'm so sorry, please, I forgive me. Can you ever find it in your heart to forgive me for not giving you that little, all right?
I think because we live in a world where lots of people are always driving too fast and they're impatient and there's not a lot of give and take on the roads, it's nice when people are just friendly and jolly, and it does restore your faith in humanity. Although,
doesn't it?
I do draw the line. I was in the Beetle recently. I was on the school run, and I got waved by someone coming the other way in a T4 camper, which had a bra on the front with, I think, about 6 massive Volkswagen stickers on it, and they
with your hackles up.
They waved at me, and they might have even given me the thumbs up. And I'm sorry if you are the driver of it, but I totally blanked you.
I think you say you gave them the V's or something.
No, I didn't. I just was like, no, not going to do that.
No, not engaging with that. No. I have just given back a Morgan Super Spouts, which is a soft top car. I'll talk about it in a future main podcast. But you do not see Morgans around all the time.
No.
I was on a dual carriageway last weekend, and an older sort of trad Morgan went the other way with an older gent and a lady in it. And I saw it coming on a straight bit of road, and I was like, oh, a fellow Morgan driver. Well, now that's surely, even across the central reservation of a dual carriageway, that's got to be a wave situation.
A Morganist.
And I prepared myself to sort of, and I had the roof down, and they had the roof down. So I was like, I'm probably going to go like full, wasn't going particularly
Tally
fast. So
ho,
I'm going to loft my hand above the windscreen.
Yes.
Give them a cheery. And I was like, and they got closer, and then they just didn't engage. And I sort of aborted my,
oh, did you?
Put my arm down. Yeah. I was a bit like, well, I'm probably never going to see another Morgan coming the other way in the time I've got this car. And I thought there'd have been a lot of waving and secret signals and winks and nods, and it just.
I thought she would have waved.
Maybe they didn't see me.
Scarf. You know, like
yes.
Like to start a hot rod race almost.
Yes.
Oh, well, never mind.
No, so it's a bit disappointing. But because David asked about seeing someone else in the beat, the other person that I saw in the beat was Edwin from Top Dead Centre, and we had already met out of the car, so we in fact just drove away together, so there was no waving there. If I did ever see a beat coming the other way, I hope there would be a lot of waving.
Oh, damn.
What are the chances of that happening?
Well, in a Honda Element, if I saw, I've never seen another Element whilst being in my element, so that would be a case of, I think we both pull over, stop, get out, pat one another on the back. We'd exchange bumper stickers, and then we get back in and drive away. Well, so there we go. I think we've probably answered this one. As you know, we're really quick at answering questions on Smith and Sniff. So I thought I'd just answer a question that was sent in.
Hey, in fairness, that last question only came in yesterday.
Oh, did it? Okay.
I think we're pretty snappy, yeah.
Well, I'm going to answer one from the 16th of December 2022.
We could say the 16th century.
No. Chap called David Burns, who actually doesn't insult us. He just says, hi. I was following this at the weekend in the West Midlands, and he sent us a hyperlink, and it's for something called a Ford Mondeo Cassia hearse.
Okay.
And he said, when I got home, I had to Google it because I'd never seen a Mondeo hearse. And I went down this massive rabbit hole of cars that have been converted to hearses. And I wondered, what is the strangest car that's ever been professionally built as a hearse that you know of?
Funny enough, the local undertakers where I used to live had, latterly when I lived there, Mondeo hearses, but Mondeo hybrid hearses.
Hybrid?
Mondeo hybrid hearses.
Oh, so the very last
they
of
still
them.
had the hybrid sticker as like badge on the door. Because I remember thinking, oh, I bet that's added an extra bit of complexity to the conversion, because there'll be all those orange cables running about the place, won't there? I'm sure the battery is sort of further back. So what do you have to do? Like stretch the cables to...
Yeah.
I don't know. I bet it's a faff.
You are right. I think they were available. I looked up on the Coleman Milne website.
Yeah.
There's a newsletter from June 2021 saying end of an era for Mondeo funeral vehicle. The last ones will be delivered in the first quarter of 2022, and you can either order them as a diesel or a hybrid petrol to comply with regs, ULEZ and LES requirements. And so he could have seen one of the very last of the Mondeo hearses. I don't know if anyone else is really interested in that, but I am. Because it's got a very high, very, very high window line.
Yes, it has. We get sent quite regularly links to or photographs of those Mustang Mach-E hearses that are about the place.
Yes, I was about to bring that up because that was my first thought. It's such a strange shaped, swoopy add-on with the massive glass house at the back for the coffin. Yeah. It doesn't quite work, I'm going to say.
I see one quite regularly around where I live now. Clearly a local undertaker has got at least one of them. And it is a a sight to behold, but not the weirdest thing. I mean, there are Maserati Quattroporte hearses in Italy.
Ah, yes, there are. Yes. Have you seen the Bentley Flying Spur hearses?
No.
Yeah. So, and also there's something called a hearsette, which I didn't know was a word.
What?
There's a... Yeah, it's true. It's called a hearsette. Well, I found out through a company called Wilcox, who I think based in Wigan, who sell nearly new and much older hearses and funeral cars. They're selling currently a Flying Spur hearse, which looks, can I just say, amazing, to the point where I think further down the line off of Smith and Sniff, when we've got a bit more money together, can we scrape together some money for a spur hearse? A Spurs. We've got to call it the Spurs.
To the Spurs. Hold on, but Wilcox, are they not the people who make Eagles, or did make Eagles?
I think they might.
They are the people responsible for the Eagle Quest.
Oh my gosh, you are right, aren't they? They did change. Yeah, gosh, I've forgotten all about that.
I can't remember if Eagle bought Wilcox or Wilcox bought Eagle, or if it was just a sub-brand. There's some story. I did look this up when we bought our limo, but...
We need to have a word with Wilcox, because they sell a Volvo S90 hearse, which looks so damn massive. It looks like a train.
Is this... So when Volvo said, we're not going to bring certain cars into the UK anymore, except for the police. I know they changed their mind on the estates, but they were still going to make an exception and build right-hand drive estates, so some V70s, and I think some S90s maybe for the police. Do you think the funeral trade also got an exemption?
I'd like to think so, because those vehicles last a long time, don't they? You don't order a hearse, have it for 4 years and then bin it.
But you know, some car companies, they kind of want the police business because they think it reflects well on them.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if the people maintaining law and order trust our cars, then anyone can. It's sort of, there was some kind of marketing benefit seen there. But do you think car companies see a marketing benefit in selling cars to be turned into hearses and funeral limos? I can't quite work that out.
Not in the UK, because I think in the UK we don't like to talk about that stuff. Although,
no,
Wilcox do sell a Nissan Leaf hearse.
Oh,
so
yes,
but
do they still do that?
Well, it's still on. You can still download the brochure and inquire about one. And
is that the sort of sidecar effect one where the coffin has to go along sort of into where the front passenger seat would be? No,
this one is a proper. I'll forward you the link, because we'll put the link for our patrons. But yeah, it just looks like an enormous 3-door hearse. Okay. It looks like they've chopped the car and then added about 4 feet into it.
Ah, right. It's fiddly because of all the cables and batteries and stuff.
Really fiddly. But I'm quite taken, which I think you will be, by the Spur hearse.
Oh, I see this now. Okay.
Look at the back of the Spur hearse.
That does look smaller and more wieldy than, say, a trad, Merc or Jag-based hearse. That's like a little sports hearse.
Yeah, it is, a little Spurs. Yeah, I'm going to just use the word Spurs now. It's just fantastic.
Stop saying Spurs.
Okay.
Well, what was the question? Oh, most unusual. Really unusual. I don't know. I don't think we go that mad in this country, but
we don't, sadly. They do abroad. They do in South America and places like that, and of course Japan.
I was wondering, has anyone turned a Suzuki Carry into a hearse? I'm sure they have. Well, or definitely
a removal vehicle, as they call it, like a private ambulance, which we've talked about before. And of course, you got the Cadillacs from yesteryear, like the Ghostbusters Miller Meteor, which is lovely.
Oh yes, haven't people made? If you're a real hardcore biker, people have made motorcycle sidecar hearses, haven't they, where the coffin just goes on the sidecar?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, they have. Yeah.
I'm sure if you could imagine it, someone's done it. Because you're right as well. We're a bit sort of not squeamish, but we're a bit funny about talking about death in this country, aren't we? And sort of celebrating.
We don't celebrate it like other countries. Yeah. Oh, they do a Tesla Model S hearse.
Oh.
Yeah, which actually looks quite cool. It's popular in Norway.
Of course. Of course it is. Of course it is.
So there's and there's also one that I think I found a second-hand, like, dilapidated one in somewhere like Greece, and it was a mid-50s Cadillac Eureka, I believe it was called. And it's one of the coolest looking vehicles. If it wasn't so rotten, I would have been tempted to have bought it and just used it as a very nice estate car. It's just so cool. I'll find a picture of it and send it to you. So there we go. Has anybody else maybe seen some incredibly strange?
It's a good question. Yeah. Hello at smithandsniff.com if you've seen a particularly unusual hearse. Extra points if you've got a photo of it. Can I move on to a question from a long-time listener, Brendan McAleer, who is a Canadian car journalist. I met Brendan once in Los Angeles where I was incredibly jet-lagged and didn't make much sense.
He's an SSCG, sweet Canadian guy.
Yes. One of my favourite subsets of the SSG. Brendan says, "Avast, you two salt pork sailor's hornpipes." A local friend and collector of movie cars has recently acquired the AMC Pacer from Wayne's World, brackets the actual one.
Fantastic.
And it has been shipped down to be displayed in the Peterson, the car museum.
I've still never been there, and I must do it.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good. It was unloved and sat outside for years. This is the Pacer, not the museum.
Really?
Then suffered a not particularly thoughtful restoration, but is now back to movie spec. My question to you, given the recent show conversations about movie cars, the RX-7, General E, etc., is what is your favourite movie or TV car that would be unexceptional enough to get through the door at Photo? Which is opposite, really, because that's happening if you're listening to this show when it goes out on Friday. Photo is tomorrow.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
We'll be there. Can't wait. Brendan's attached this fantastic magazine cover from Motor, the UK edition of Motor, which shows the AMC Pacer, which Brendan notes was produced in right-hand drive and sold in the UK very briefly. Yeah. Was that not... The right-hand drive conversion was meant to be especially cack because they used a chain, cut the steering column and ran a chain.
They did, because I went to buy one once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I decided not to. Awful? I think it was probably the right thing to do.
The headline on this cover of Motor says, "We test the Pacer, open brackets, and wish we hadn't, closed brackets."
I know. And also, it's a very weird shot. The car is caked in mud. It looks like they've been slathering it up a back lane and not giving any care.
It's a terrible photo. Like, it's so sort of lazily done, but
you wouldn't
they
put
meant
that
it to look
on
awful.
the cover. You just wouldn't. So a Photo acceptable movie car.
Yeah, so it's got to be unexceptional, but sort of, I suppose, slightly iconic. One that immediately sprung to mind, for anyone who's watched Slow Horses, which is on Apple TV, Gary Oldman's character, Jackson Lamb, has a 90s Honda Civic 5-door.
Oh, nice.
So the Rover 400 shape.
Yeah.
Which, for reasons I can only speculate on, the production has sprayed bright yellow.
Right.
Which wasn't a car. It's like, it is the colour of one of those Jordan Civic limited editions they did, but they were only the 3-door. This is a gawky 5-door. So I think they've made it yellow because we've talked about this before, and I wrote a whole feature for the Road Rat about why yellow cars in TV and film are
the psychology, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because it always sort of says something about the character, because yellow cars are quite unusual, so it sort of says the character is a bit unusual, and also it's easier to pick out the car in a, so a lot of Slow Horses is done on kind of slightly dark, drizzly London streets, but it's easy to spot that car in shot as it goes through a wide shot or whatever. So I guess they've done it for that reason, because for a spy, effectively, it's a very bad way to be undercover in a bright yellow car, but spy the by. So I would turn up at Photo in Jackson Lamb's bright yellow Civic 5-door for sure.
I would be tempted by the In-Betweeners Fiat Was it a Cinquecento or a Cinquecento?
It was a Cinquecento, yeah.
Which had different coloured panels, didn't it? Because of one of the episodes, one of the doors fell off. He reversed a door out or off it.
Yeah.
So I think, and I like those. I genuinely always quite fancy one of those.
Again, a yellow car with a red door, but a yellow car for comedy purposes. Because again, I think it's a basic Cinquecento, but it's been sprayed bright yellow like a Sporting.
Yeah. Cool, you are observant, Rich. So I'd probably do that. I mean, I'm wanting to say Columbo. Was it the Peugeot that Detective Columbo had? Because it's quite an underwhelming... It's weird, but it's definitely not flamboyant or shouty. It's just odd.
Yes, it was really shabby in the show, wasn't it? Deliberately so. That's the point. It's an old car.
It looks like his old coat, really.
Yes. Well, it looks like him generally. He's just a shabby sort of coming apart at the seams kind of man. But,
he was followed everywhere by carpet moths, I bet.
Yes.
Sort of got that thing about him.
But yes, I don't know. I mean, it's almost, that's a bit too... Well, also, is it... I think Columbo's, annoyingly though, Columbo's Peugeot... Photo boundaries are 1970 to 2000, aren't they? So
it predates that because it's a 60s car.
It's a 60s car. So sadly, no. But it's a nice thought because the shabbiness is very appealing.
I think Ben Collins off of the Stig, off of Top Gear, off of being a good driver, recently did a video about the Renault, is it the 11, the one from View to a Kill, which gets chopped in half in the... Is it the streets of...
Paris.
I think if someone turned up in photo with half a Renault
11,
just dragging along or on some skates, done well. I'd actually really like to do this, but I'd worry about the viciousness of viewers who find out that I've chopped a car up. But so have I mentioned this on the podcast, or we just talk about it in real life? The people who lived down our street when I was growing up, who bought a Renault 11 second hand and then discovered with horror that it was actually two cars welded together. Oh, you did say this? Yes.
Nothing to do with View to a Kill. It was just the 80s, and cut and shuts were, I think, a little more commonplace. Yeah. The guy was washing it one day and it was silver, but the silver paint started coming off the rear half to reveal blue underneath, and that sort of triggered a investigation which led them to find all these bloody awful welds under the carpet, and it turned out to be two cars stuck together. So I don't know what happened to that car, but you wouldn't feel guilty about chopping it in half because,
maybe that's what we should do next year. We'll turn up in half a Renault. I'll get one.
Half a Renault 11, yeah. Okay, good idea.
I think we should definitely do that. So there you go, Brendan. Thanks again. Great. Always good with the questions. Always good on social media. And Smith & Sniff is on Instagram in case you ever wanted to say hi. But don't DM us, please. Just tag us in stories.
With the caveat that, oh my goodness, the DMs are a hellscape of busyness and junk, as well as legit messages. So if you've got something you want to say to us, hello@smithandsniff.com. If it's a question for this show, put Otosot in your subject line.
Now, I want to read this one out. This one's from Ryan Odie. It says, guys, in a recent Otosot, a question came in which reminded me of a simpler time when having breakdowns, etc., etc. Whilst going to North Devon for a 2-week caravan holiday in my dad's Stratos Silver 1.4 Mark II Fiesta gear, 5 up, ! The throttle cable snapped. Not to be deterred, though, he made us take our shoes off and... He made, just going to read this again. He made us take our shoes off and fashioned a hand-controlled accelerator. The local Ford dealer had no stock for a week of throttle cables, so he embarked on a week's worth of elbow shifting, knee steering, shoelace tugging trip around North Devon lanes. There are some serious lanes around there. Many years later, I had the same issue in my Citroen BX automatic. Remembering the bodge, I'd managed to get home and drive for the next 6 months. Surprisingly relaxed wafting.
6 months?
6 months. I cannot believe that. Half a year of bodged throttle.
Oh, it's been automatic, I suppose. That that makes things simpler.
It certainly
guess.
does.
Yeah, that's all right. Even so 6 months, what, pulling on shoelaces?
That is amazing. So he's put anyway, any dad bodges / hacks that save the day that you've needed or you remember one of your friends doing. TMTMB. Ryan. Gosh, I'm still trying to envisage this dad spec Fiesta.
Well, because the Devon lanes, they're so stoppy-starty because you're constantly having to let people through or back up to let someone through.
Oh, awful. The whole
while
thing.
Pulling on. So you got, in a non-pass car, surely, as well?
Yes.
No power steering on a Mark II Fiesta.
No.
And what did he say? Hang on. And the whole family's in the car?
The whole 5 up in the car. So,
5 up.
So hill starts.
Holiday stuff.
Shitloads of hill starts.
Weight, hills, manoeuvring. That's, I mean,
it's
just, wow.
It's sending shivers down my spine just thinking about it.
But
I'm
because,
impressed.
funnily enough, it does remind me of a friend of mine. His dad, back in the day, I think in the 70s, had a Beetle.
Yeah.
And the same thing, throttle cable snapped.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing, bit of string or whatever, but running backwards, obviously, to the engine.
Yes.
And so he sort of had to have one hand up, like sort of almost at head height, so he could just gently pull it forward to accelerate and let it go backwards again to decelerate. But did that for ages, I think, in a rear engine Beetle. And I always thought, that sounds inconvenient.
It's
if
very
not a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, it is quite a boring job on a Beetle because it's a long throttle cable, obviously, and it has to go through a long tube in the spine of the chassis. From memory, it's a bit of a Brian Cant. But
because also, you know, the way that like Tiptronic type gearboxes. And there's always this debate about whether it should be forward for up. And, really, if you're a purist, and some car companies agree with this, you pull back to change up.
Yes.
Because it's forward to go down, because it feels like that works with the G-forces of braking as you're sort of all the, the weight's going forward and it's naturally bam, bam down the box that way.
Yeah.
If your cable is going behind you to the engine of a Beetle, as you brake, naturally your clenched fist with the bit of string in it is being sort of pulled forward, so the engine is then going to accelerate. That sounds hairy.
It sounds ridiculous, the whole thing.
I feel like, but your dad has at times had some sort of interesting workarounds. Did he ever do a throttle cable fix?
I think my dad has done numerous fixes. The thing is now I'm just trying to, if my dad does listen to this, so Dad, you will, if you've got any, please email me. Otosot.
I won't give out the email address again because he's got yes, but, you still have to go through the official channels, Bob.
But yeah, I think there's been numerous ones. I remember an issue with a headlight falling out. I think the surround for the headlight had rusted away, and so the headlight was put into position using gardening wire. Gardening, that green gardening wire that you'd wire vines up with and stuff. He wired a headlight.
Oh yes, yeah.
But the problem was it wasn't totally. It wasn't fixed quite well enough, so it would jiggle around, and just a small amount of jiggling when you're on full beam is a big jiggle.
Yeah.
So I remember that. I used to, a chap who was in my phone as Paul Campbells, who has now relocated to a different area. He was the master of cam belts. And I've talked about him in a very old podcast where he used to turn up and instead of a mechanic's crawler, he used to use an internal door. And he would do a cam belt in like half an hour, whatever car it was. He was a genius. But Paul had a partner, a girlfriend, who he'd not long started seeing when I knew him. And she was very, very small. I think she was under 5 feet tall. And he decided to adapt her car for her. She had a Focus, I think. And he made a pedal box out of like other bits of scrap metal and wood. And I got in it one day because it was blocking my car in while he was working on it. And I nearly kneed myself in the face because the pedals stood so high in the footwell. I just hadn't noticed. So that was bad. But I think most of the ones I remember are stuff like batteries. I know someone who had a battery that came loose, and so they put the battery tray, I think, had rotted through, and there was nowhere else to put it in the engine bay. So they bungeed the battery on the front wing, basically in a cradle on the side of the front wing.
That doesn't sound right.
No, it was like a sling. It was pretty bad. I feel like we're going to get lots of letters about this subject.
Yeah,
it's a good.
Well, it's time to wrap this up. But if you do have any thoughts about any of this, I feel like one of those announcements at the end of a program. If you've been affected by any of the issues in this show, do get in touch. hello@smithandsniff.com. Likewise, if you have a question for us. That's it for now. Well, hopefully we will see some of you at Festival of the Unexceptional this weekend. We're recording a show there. You'll be able to hear it on Monday. Until then, goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Bye.